if I get to choose between lucky and mistaken... Oh no, don't blow up my mossy cobblestone. Hello, I'm FPX and welcome back to another episode of my brand new Let's Play. This is part 2 of the No Mining, No Problems series. That works actually, that's what we should call it. But this is part 2 of the series where I'm going to be not using any mining whatsoever, not going underground, but still I'm going to thrive and be successful in a fun little mini Let's Play series. I'm having a lot of fun with this so far, even though we've really spent the first episode just gathering resources, but we did pretty well from it. I've got a diamond pickaxe, an iron shovel, a stone axe, I've got a saddle, I've got so many weird things that are going to allow me to, really thrive. But one of the things I don't have, one of the things that people always say you need in a Minecraft world, especially in Minecraft Let's Play, is a house. So in today's video, we'll be chopping down a bunch of jungle trees. And not just these, kind of lame jungle trees that are barely even, different to a regular tree. I mean the big old trees. I'm going to chop down a bunch of them, and I'm going to make a big house. I want to make something that's actually different, kind of cool, and takes advantage of the fact that I'm not going to be mining at all, because I don't have a mine to keep me tied down to one place. So I figure let's make a really weird jungle wood house, take advantage of all the jungle wood we got here, and maybe even use some redstone mechanisms, because I have been to a jungle temple, so I can do that. And as in last week's video, we will also be answering some hypothetical questions, or I guess really one big hypothetical question. I kind of want to do like one big question per episode, but this one I guess kind of has some different permutations, because the big one, in the same way we're doing one big activity today that's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to teach you a valuable lesson, even though it might be a bit weird at the first kind of thing. And in the same way, I mean, I'm just trying to link this into my hypothetical question. My hypothetical for this week is going to be, for this week is going to be, so if there was a button that you could press and it would kill someone that you don't know. That's the only thing the button can guarantee. It definitely won't be anyone you ever know or have connection with. And let's say second level connections, so it's not going to be anyone you know or anyone you know or their family members or their friends or someone they might interact with. So it's going to be some random person. They're going to die, and you're going to get some amount of money. Let's say, let's start this at like $10,000. Would you hit that big red button? It's a big button. You just press it. Someone has a heart attack on the other side of the world, and then you get given $10,000. Let's say, for the sake of this argument, that it's all above board, that it's not like some evil scheming corporation. It's just you find this button one day. It's like a superpower, but it's a really it's a money superpower. You can make money out of thin air by killing people on the other side of the planet. Do you press the button? And I guess the second part of the question is, do you press the button, and what is your price that you would require? Because, I mean, for some people, the price they want is as small as, like, oh yeah, they just want, $10,000, that's life-changing money. Sure, it's not going to be anyone I know, but I think most people will be a lot more conflicted about it than that, right? Because knowing you've caused someone's death is just something I feel like most humans are pretty hardwired not to want to do, Like, killing someone, fun fact, I haven't ever killed someone yet, at least. I haven't killed someone. I'd be willing to bet you watching this haven't killed someone. If you could kill someone without any of the direct guilt associated, would it be worth it for $10,000? And really, the question becomes, how much money would you have to be offered before you press the button? And the interesting thing about this question is I feel like there's a decent number of people who would definitely just answer with, no, of course I'm never pressing the button. That's a life. Money is never worth a life. But at the same time as that, it's like a well-known fact. One of the more horrifying things is that the US government, I think it's like the CIA, has a deliberate value put on a human life. I think it's for the purposes of ransoms mostly, but the value of a life is 7.6. I want to say it's 7.6. It might have gone up. I don't know if it rises with inflation or not. That's a really good question, actually. Does the value of a life rise with inflation? It probably should, right? I mean, if bread gets more expensive, then human life should too, I want to say. But regardless of any of that, the correct answer to this question is no, there is no value you can put on a human life. Of course, that would just be silly. Also, why can't I make an iron axe? Oh, I'm just missing it. But so the direct answer to this question is, of course, there is no value you can put on a human life, except the actual value is 7.5 million. So the mathematical answer to this question, the easy, gotcha, just be done with it, is would you press the button for $10,000? No. Would you press it for 100,000? No. Would you press it for $1 million? No. Would you press it for 7.7 million? Okay, that seems like a fair trade. And honestly, let's say the max this will go up to is 10 million. Because, I mean, the funny thing about this negotiating position is if someone says, will you press the button for 10,000? And if you say no and they say, how about 100,000? I think at that point, you might as well squeeze them for money. If you're going to be, immoral enough to literally kill someone for the press of a button, which, by the way, probably isn't going to be a real button. It's probably going to be a psychology experiment where they, like, pull out a camera. They're like, whoa, bro, that's messed up. But you should always, like, have the negotiating hand of, like, look, if I'm killing someone, I want at least 7.6 million. I think if everyone has that negotiating position, then one, hitmen would be more expensive and therefore less common. And two, maybe we could, like, this is terrible. I was gonna be like, maybe if there was just a fixed price you could kill someone for, maybe then we'd have people, one, people would be a little bit more nice to everyone because they're like, he might get rich one day and have me killed otherwise. Like, don't bully kids in school because they might get rich one day and just, have you assassinated and have you pay the costs. But the other kind of big thing is, like, if we all accept that amount of money, then, we could, it could be like a pact to be like, look, when you get that amount of money, 7.6 is either for the victim or for the good of humanity. I guess, if you don't, here's the problem, if you don't know the victim, I feel like that's almost worse in some way. Like, you can believe in your head, maybe no one ever pressed the button, but I think we're just hardwired as humans to be like, like I said, killing is bad. I don't want to do that, and not being able to ever deal with that guilt, like it's a big thing. Like, the reason therapy exists. If you've never been to therapy, I haven't personally, but as I understand it, purely from movies and such, it's because when you talk out your actions, you start to understand what they actually are. Having unresolved conflicts and cognitive dissonance, where two parts of your brain are fighting each other, that's not good. And if you had someone literally killed for some money that you bought a new supercar with, that supercar is going to remind you, like, ooh, someone died for this, and it's not even that good. Like, Lamborghinis aren't really comfortable cars. They're just cars you buy because they're flashy and expensive. And in the same way, having killed someone to get that Lamborghini probably makes it even worse. So anyway, let's get this house started before we go back to our big philosophical quandary, because I still haven't quite named necessarily the price. But yeah, so I was thinking a little bit earlier on, between last bit and this bit, is I have this really interesting shaped, like, kind of cove right here. As you can see, it's almost perfectly V-shaped. Not quite perfectly, because, I said the word almost, don't worry, get off me. But if you look around most, kind of beaches, they have a really diagonal, but like rough diagonal kind of cut. So to see two beaches which come so close together like this, I think this is an opportunity for me to make a house that starts on the beach, but mostly goes on the water. The reason I like a house mostly on the water is so that eventually, does that skeleton? Okay. If I do get some coral or a silk touch pickaxe, I can then involve the coral in the house as like a flooring type, and that'd be kind of fun because we can't get sometimes a concrete. Actually, maybe we can, but we can't get certain blocks because they're just a little bit too hard. But coral is very easy to run across because you find it just naturally in the thing. So first of all, we're gonna kill the skeleton because I hate skeletons, and then we're gonna just get started on this, and then as always in Minecraft, it's sometimes best to just kind of start and ask questions later. So the middle of this gap is going to be found over, it's actually both these blocks, but because this is a more sharp gradient, it means we should go on this side. I want to say that that's logic right there. If it's not, then my mistake. And then we're going to have like a perfectly diagonal kind of house. In my head, I've still got that blue ice build from all those years ago in my head, like, sorry, not years ago, months ago, the last subscriber realm video I did, and it's like, actually, it'd be kind of fun if we went back and if we made like a jungle wood version of that, I think, especially if we stripped the jungle wood, because, it's been a while since I've stripped jungle wood. Actually, it's been literally since last episode, so a whole week, but I think if we use stripped jungle wood, it's got a nice, charming characteristic to it, or if we strip every other block, maybe. Actually, is that an idea? Okay, let's give it a try. So we strip every other block of this. Maybe we'll regret that. Maybe we won't. Actually, I'm kind of liking the whole, like, half and half vibe. But then we got a question like, okay, so then the next layer out, do we strip every half one of those two or not? Actually, we could make it so, like, the whole bottom layer is stripped and then the whole next layer isn't. That could be a fun idea. So, for instance, all of this is stripped and then the next one, all of it isn't. I'm down with that as an idea. Sure, why not? So, there we go, we've worked something out, and it's going to go out until about 3 or 4 blocks, then it kind of totally goes back in, so it's not going to be covered, although we could cover it later, but it's going to have this kind of like sharp out, not so sharp upwards kind of look. That's what we're going to go for. Again, as always, there are many things that can go wrong, but that's half the fun of making something like this. And then we'll just kind of alter the shoreline so that it matches what we've got here, and then because it's not really altering it too much, it should look pretty good still. That's the plan, at least. As always, these things are open to a lot of interpretation, but that's half the fun of Minecraft building, I feel like, anyway. So, yeah, while we do some building on this, because it's fun. It's been a while since I built just a brand new style of house or a brand new block that I've never really played around with too much before. It's going to involve redstone too, hopefully. Let's talk a little bit about the big button, because you can press the button, you get some amount of money. What's the amount of money for me? I think it would have to be like probably 10 million. I think a million is an amount of money you can earn in your lifetime pretty legitimately. To earn 10 million, like, okay, so here's the thing. Like, a lot of people always focus on one of two things in the, like, if you're generally speaking, again, so a lot of people will either focus on money being earned by luck or by talent, hard work, dedication, all those things. There's like two categories of people. Obviously, people who are, let's just say, pro-socialist, communist, not, inclined to believe that it's all like stolen money. Like, well, it's luck. You just happened to get rich because of society's efforts. And some people say anyone could have gone rich, and the reason you did was because you work hard. It's two beliefs that both have some truth. I think there's like, it's a lot of hard work and dedication, and to try and take that away from someone because you don't have it is not really an okay thing, right? But on the other hand, there's always luck involved in everything. You need a lot of luck. And I think to get to earn a million in your lifetime, anyone can do, regardless of how much luck you have. You might have to suffer a bit more than some people. Like, luckier people can get there. Oh, darn it. I just leveled this out. Just remove the blocks and then put them right back. So I guess we'll have this be the very outermost edge. We might do something where we make it go out a little bit more. And then we're going to go inwards a bit, which is going to be really rough. But we'll try our best, I guess. So is this lined up? Yeah, this is lined up. So, yeah, there's, so then the other way of thinking is like, oh yeah, so, like I said, there's two kind of things, but I think there's luck and there's skill required, but I think a million, anyone can earn. If you live in any Western or developed country, if you live in one of the 20 or 50th wealthiest countries, you can be a millionaire. You might have to suffer for it. It might be hard, but you can get there. And you might be like, no, there's no way, like, if I'm working as, like, a policeman on, I don't know, like, I'm going to make up a number, 25,000 rubles, whatever like a real currency, but I know rubles are real, but they're not worth very much comparatively. But you're earning like some amount. It's like, well, if you save X percent of your salary, it's hard to save X percentage on lower salaries, but anyone can, and over enough years, it becomes a millionaire. So anyone can become a millionaire, but I feel like 10 million is the point where you need some good amount of luck involved. Not necessarily, either you need some luck or you need to grind crazy, but not everyone who grinds crazy is going to become 10 million. It's just not a thing. So 10 million, it's like, one, either you can set yourself up and you can deal with the guilt as like, well, on the one hand, I killed a person. On the other hand, no financial stresses ever. Woo. So I think that's like the level where you have to be like, oh, I'm at least starting to consider it. Again, and in the situation, maybe I just couldn't do it. Maybe I really don't know for sure. But in the hypothetical at least, I think that has to be your floor value, your kind of like your estimate that you're going for yourself. And then this is getting pretty weird actually, the way this is working. But then I would say 10 million is the amount. However, a part of me is like, maybe if it was 9 million rather than 10, would that be the thing? And it's like, maybe 8 million rather than 9, maybe. And I think you can like kind of squeeze yourself down. Like as soon as you set an amount, then you've got to be like, well, that amount minus some amount, how about that? And then it becomes a bit more of a grey area. Also, there is a chicken trapped in this tree. How does that? Minecraft spawning. It very much works, I assure you. I just realized I could put these cocoa beans on the outside of my house as like some decoration. Because you know how like people, like I've said this before and I'll say it again, but Minecraft building isn't, in my opinion, something where you're good or bad at it. It's all about like expressing your soul. So you can be. I think there are people who are better at like doing things that look impressive, but you should never like let someone tell you that your builds suck or whatever, because there's no such thing as that in my belief. But that I suck at building, so that's why I would say that, of course. But at the same time, like there's a lot of things that just like make a build look good, and using lots of detail is one of those things. So we'll be overdoing that just so people can like me more, because I seek validation. But yeah, the thing is whenever you set a price for yourself, it's like, well, what if someone tries to nickel you down? What if, like, if you set a price for your dream job and someone's like, that minus $1 grand, you're going to be like, maybe kind of on that. So I don't actually know for sure. Maybe I would do it, like, maybe it's like, maybe $50 and a McDonald's double cheeseburger is going to be like, oh, I am kind of hungry, and the double cheeseburger, it's not real meat in there, but it's something good. It's the sort of thing where it's like, I think most people, the value they set for hypothetical is probably lower than the actual value. But I think the value I'd like to believe is like 10 million is the minimum. Well, I'd like to believe I wouldn't do it, but I mean, obviously, hypotheticals, it's no fun. The person always says, like, oh, I'd never do that. Like, be like, oh, if you literally had to, would you rather kill someone or, you know, make love to a goat? And it's like, ooh, that's a hard one, but I guess I'm gonna say no. And it's like, no, hypotheticals aren't fun if you just say, oh, I'd never do either. Because that's not how the hypothetical is. It's meant to weigh one against the other. And if you don't have enough value differential to, you know, differentiate between murdering someone and, like, something else, it's like, no. Well, then, clearly, you're the one with something wrong, not me, you know. But that's, obviously, as someone who likes hypotheticals, people who don't play by the rules of the game, it's not very fun. In fact, people who don't play by the rules of any game, they're not fun. But anyway, back to the point. So, playing by the rules of the game, I think I'd probably do it somewhere between 5 and 10. Like, 4 million is where I go, oh, no, that's a life, man. Like, I might earn 4 million eventually, like, by the time I'm, like, 70. Hopefully, if one can dream. Like, because it's a possibility, you know. All you need to do is like this video, and then next time Toy Cat's off of the button, he'll be like, YouTube channel's going really well. Looks like I don't need to press any murdery buttons today. But yeah, so the second question that comes off this, because we could answer that endlessly, like, what's the real amount? So let's say it's 10 million, that's the max they'll offer, and they're like, you press the button, or, you know, you might press the button, and you're like, oh, I just killed someone. Okay, then. And then you see the 10 million. Let's say they give it to you pure cash. They're like, these are 50s, they're insequential. By the way, this is dollars. I use dollars, by the way, on my videos, because the universal currency is basically the dollar. There's a problem with that because of the way that's being treated, but for now at least, for probably not too much longer, because the way the world is working, you know, the whole world used to be pro-US. Now it's a bit more of like a, ooh, kind of vaguely. I mean, they have the guns, I guess. But so yeah, the US dollar, I use it. A lot of people think I'm American just because I try to, like, I standardize things to the international standard. I speak English, not because it's the language of my country, although that's why I learned it. But I speak English because it's the international language, and I use the US dollar because everyone knows their currency to the dollar. Not everyone knows their currency to the pound. I want to say the pound is the third most traded currency in the world. Might be fourth after the yen, but there's dollar, there's euro, and previously the Deutschmark, and then there's Japanese yen / the pound in third, fourth, and yeah, because I use that currency. Just want to keep that in mind while you're like, Toy Cat, why are you offering me money in dollars to kill someone? Like, is the dollar the currency of murder? And no, it's just the currency of financial transactions, if you will. At least, I mean, it's, again, complex worlds, complex things. Let's not get too far into them. So yeah, with that said, the interesting question is, like, you press the button, it's done, and then the guy says, so, the red button, we kind of put it out like it was a one-time thing, but if you'd like to, you can press the button again, and you'll get another 10 million, in sequential bills, or let's say some time passed. No, actually, I think it has to be a one-time opportunity. Right here in this room, press the button again, get another 10 million. There's no way it's traced back to you. It's not like you're going to be arrested as, like, some, super criminal, like in Death Note, I want to say. You're not going to be arrested as being some super criminal. Like, no one's going to know it was you. It's just some people are going to have heart attacks on the other side of the world, or not connected to you in any way. Do you press the button again? And this is where, like, the real questionable thing comes in, because then it's like, so how many times do you press the button? Because, I mean, on a logical level, it's like, I mean, if you pressed it once, what's the difference between one murder and two murders? And the answer is, like, I mean, one murder, right? There you go, nailed your question right there. But obviously it's a lot more complex than that, because it's not, I mean, the difference between taking one life and taking more than one life is, it's kind of high, but it's also not. It's the really complex world of the way human values work. Like, one of my favorite things, this is, I don't like that I like to do this, because I guess it weirds a lot of people out, but I like seeing the kind of red lines in human morality, and one of the biggest ones always seems to be, like, oh yeah, well, murdering anyone's a tragedy, and it's like, what about murdering 1 million people? Is that 1 million times the tragedy? Well, I mean, no, because it's, the murder's already happened, so how many, like, every single, this is, again, I don't want to, this isn't, like, being used in any political way, I'm just saying, it's a thing that happens in a region of the world. There has been a mistake here. Oh no, there hasn't, I can't count. There we go, perfect. So, we've got this done, now we'll go on the next layer, and then we'll start chopping down blocks to get more. But, there's a lot of mass murder style events in the United States. It's a country that has a lot of those going on. Regardless of what you think, the reasons are actually complex, but there's a lot of those that happen in America. And every single one of them is treated as being of equal value, roughly. I think once the count goes past 2, it becomes a shooting spree or something, and it's like, oh, there's been this many shooting sprees. And this is the crazy thing, like, whether 4 people died, or 400, or, like, 50, let's say, it's like, you know, about the same. And to me, that's insane. That is, you know, that's 100 times multiplier. But, you know, it's the way human morality works, and because of the way, I guess, the media is particularly set up, it just leads to some really weird edge case, like, ooh, that doesn't seem like the right way to set that up, but it's the way things are kind of done for lots of things. So anyway, we're gonna have kind of like a tail. Actually, yeah, let's make it like a boat where there's like a big thing going out this way. So it's kind of like a boat mixed with a house. Again, every time I come up with a cool idea like this, it goes terribly, but maybe this time will be the exception. I mean, keep note of this for later when it's not the exception. Okay, as you can see, we've got now like a stern to the boat, I want to say they call it, in the boat industry. It's looking pretty good in my opinion. Now we've got to just, I guess, expand the walls a little bit more. We're going to have the official edge coming up soon, and then we can kind of go from there. So, yeah, it's kind of weird that that's the way, I guess, murder as a whole is seen. But in the same way, it's like, well, I mean, if you press the button once, is pressing the button twice really so bad? But then the interesting thing is it's like 2 different... So again, in the same way you don't see 2 murders as being twice as bad as 1, you know, it's just a murder event as opposed to any particular murder. There's also the interesting kind of ethical thing of like, okay, then what about money? Because money also has this multiplier effect. When I was younger, getting 50p or getting like 10p would be like, yeah, that's like 5 2p sweets. Then you realize pretty quick that like 50p is not very much money, or 50 cents to convert to international units. Well, to US dollars in this case. So then, you know, then very quickly you realize that, like, oh, and then when you get a whole pound, there are so many different possibilities. You can get this plus that, or you can get this plus that, or you can get, like, a pack of cards, and you can get some snacks. And then you think, like, £5, when you're getting in the note money, because in the UK the smallest note is a fiver, you're like, oh, man, that is so much money right there. That you give someone this money, you get things, and then they give you some of them pound coins from earlier back. And I think like getting older is kind of like a perpetual thing of realizing like, oh, more, you know, money. £5 isn't £5 better than £1. It's just the new kind of standard, right? And you know, then you're like, oh, £10, that's so much. And then like you hear about people who get like a £50 note or something. You're like, oh my god, that's just absurd money. Like, well, what could you even do with that? And then eventually, of course, you know, you start paying rent or something. You're like, oh, turns out 50 runs out pretty fast, eh? And it's kind of like, you know, and then you think like, being when you're like 18, you're like, yeah, 1,000 is a lot of money. Then when you're like, you know, 25 or something, you're like, 10,000 is a lot of money. And I guess it's just a perpetual cycle with that. I'm assuming at some point in your life, I'm going to assume it's 35, you've reached your peak of like, oh, yeah, 100,000 would be a lot of money, and then it never goes back down again. Because as you have, the thing is like, money buys financial security. Like, having money means that you don't have to borrow, take, whatever it may be, to get money in the future. And therefore, like, as you get older, you kind of need less money, because like, unless you want to leave money to your kids, but like, who cares about that, right? Who cares about way down the line? I think a lot of people do actually. But you know, let's assume you're like me, and you don't have kids in your mind or in your life yet, and you're like, yeah, actually, at some point, there's going to become a point where money becomes worth less and less, because you can only spend it so fast. Like, you can earn money at a pretty consistent rate, but you can only spend it, you know, like, how much does a holiday cost? Like, at best, like, many, many thousands, but you have to really start looking for ways to spend money at some point. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to point out that, like, the interesting thing about the button question is it kind of puts 2 things against each other. The morality of murder, and also the inefficiency of increasing money. Like, if I gave you 10 million and 20 million, your life is probably going to be about the same, regardless, because you've got, oh, darn. I was trying to use the bedrock placing thing, but I failed at that a little bit. It's going to improve your life about the same. Oh, we've also got loads of these to take off. That's nice. But it's going to improve your life about the same, because, like, what do you do with that extra 20 million? Like a slightly nicer house? That doesn't really affect you. And although a lot of people like to cite the study that, like, oh yeah, £77,000, I think it is, or dollars, that's the amount of money where no extra money increases your happiness. It's just extra nice things. The reality is that actually it's based on old information. It's because they didn't adjust for inflation, and also it's kind of a flawed study to begin with. But still, it's the basic point that, like, more money is not more better. Once you have money, once you've gone to the point where money's only providing financial, let's say sustenance, financial, like security, that's the one, not sustenance. Then it's like, oh yeah, well I guess we're dealing with the whole, thing about how, oh yeah, so like, you don't, seeing, a few murders and one murder is pretty much the same thing. My favorite problem to raise to friends, because it seems like such a easy thing if you're like utilitarian, I guess, but again, most people don't see it that way, is the trolley problem. Let's say, I'll hopefully illustrate on screen somewhere. Let's say on one track, you've got, like one person, you got one person, and on one track you got 5 people. And there's like a little switcher, you know how those rail things work. And, you can switch the tracks, because right now there's a train coming down, it's going to kill those 5 people, or you can press this button, you can switch the tracks so that one person dies. Do you switch the tracks? The obvious answer is like yes, and that's what I would like to believe I would do, assuming there's no like criminal culpability. But everyone struggles so much with it, they're like, kind of not. And it's not I think a majority of people do eventually decide they're going to switch, but the fact that there's a struggle there at all, and the fact that some people say, nah, let the 5 people die, I think is kind of an interesting part of that, the whole, like, things, when you look at maths, things seem pretty black and white. Like, everything can be assigned a number value, and those number values mean lots of different things, right? But then when you actually dive into, like, it seems simple enough on the surface, but then when you combine psychology with maths, things get all messed up. One of my favorite examples of this is, there's an effect where the percentage, the bigger things are, the harder it is to work out the percentage that it's grown over something else. So if you had two hands, one hand is bigger than the other by 10%, you can spot that, and you'd probably guess that it's about 10% bigger. It's easy enough to guess that hand is bigger than that one by 10%. My hands are both the same size, by the way, as far as I'm aware. Are they actually? I guess you can't. Roughly enough. My hands are similar enough sizes, but you'd easily be able to spot if there was even a 1% difference. You'd be attuned to it, and your brain would be like, oh, that's your boy Toy Cat, the guy with super strange, oddly shaped hands. But the difference between, say, buildings, like mega skyscrapers, if one is 10% taller than the other, it looks like only a few percent, because the bigger something is, the harder it is for you to work out the difference. It's just a weird, human flaw. And I guess that kind of goes back to the money thing. Like 10 and 20 million. If anyone's watching this and you're a 10 or 20 millionaire, one, please do consider sponsoring at sponsor.ivxtoycat.com. Because I'd like to be a 10 or 20 millionaire one day too. And two, I would actually not. Can we focus on that one? Like, how about you sponsor.ivxtoycat.com? Give that recurring monthly income, so I don't feel like I might lose my house every month. But that's just a fun little joke. Don't worry. But like instead of that same whole kind of thing, wouldn't it be much easier to understand this sort of issue if you obviously, instead of from this hypothetical position of not having 10 or 20 million, really hard to understand what the difference is when you're in that position? It's a lot easier. Maybe even to like a 20 millionaire, they're like 10 million, not worth getting out of bed for. Like, I've got the money I want. It has to be 10 million and in a way I like it, which is why I think like Bill Gates would not hit that button. However, here's an idea, right? So you can hit your button, your murder button, let's call it, as many times as you like. You could even hit it 7 or 6, actually probably like 6 billion times or something, and just have a mass extinction style event. If you hit the button 6 billion times, by the way, at 10 million a pop, I want to say that's 70 trillion? I could be wrong. But yeah, we're talking like multiple times the size of the US government debt even. Like five times the size of the US government debt. We're talking like a significant amount of the portion of the money that exists in the world. So you're going to cause hyperinflation. How many times between 1 and 6 billion do you press it? And I was actually thinking, if the money is real and, it doesn't have like the weird inflation links to it, which, of course would probably have. Also, I wonder why, we're going to have to chop some more blocks away, aren't we? But, oh, why can't we pick this up? But, yeah, I would say there's this interesting thing off. You might want to hit the button a few thousand times, because here's the deal, right? If you hit the button 1,000,000 times, that gives you 100 billion. You become the richest person on Earth overnight. Obviously, someone's going to be suspicious, especially if, like, that many people died, and then you do the whole thing. But, on the other hand, then you've got a bunch of money to deal with that you can probably do some good things with. So, I guess the way our modern society is like kind of hooked up is like it's okay to do bad things as long as you do better things when you've got the money, which I think is one of the key flaws. Like if you want to have like a good, capitalist function system, you got to have it just be like, oh yeah, so how about do good things while you earn the money? Look at that, that's next level brain stuff right there. It's not the way the world realistically works, but it's a nice. Oh god, how did you appear? Hey there, friendo. But yeah, so Jesus, that's a lot of murder. A lot of sorry. I mean, it is a lot of murder too. But yeah, it raises the big question of like, if is it okay if you do really good things with the money, you save. Let's save, because I think that much money you could save millions of lives. You could make lives. Sorry, you could save like a whole country somewhere in Africa or South America or one. You could save some country with that. And is it worth doing? And again, the obvious moral answer is no. But there's a part of me, saying like kind of utilitarian, like, what? Why don't we just do it? It's like, actually, that could, maybe it's an okay thing to do. And maybe that makes me a monster. Maybe that's not an okay opinion to have at all. But I really do think, like, it's the trolley problem, but on a higher level, right? Like, if you can, because especially here's the thing, like, even if you only use half that money, let's say. Yeah, even let's go on a smaller level. Let's say you just kill 10 people, 100 million, nice, easy, still understandable amounts. You take your 10 million, or your 100 million, sorry. You take your 100 million, and you keep 30 for yourself, and that because it's tax free. No, I guess this is, that's a realistic amount to keep if you earned it yourself anyway. But like if you keep that amount for yourself, and then you spend the other 70, you still save all those different lives. But you've made 30 million in the process. That feels like objectively awful, right? I mean, when you hear that, you're like, oh god, this is not okay. That is not a thing you can do. Also, I think we should go one more block out. I know this is a lot of steps, but I think we actually should before coming in. And actually, we'll just have the floor be a block lower down to make this whole thing a bit easier. And then we'll go up, but when we come back in, we're going to go up 2 instead of 1. And it's going to kind of function as some of the walls. So just kind of give you a feel of what it looks like. Because I'm not convinced it's going to be great now. Let's give you a feel for what it's going to look like. As soon as we remove... Oh, God. This is a very awkward house to get around, to say the least. But now all we have to do is remove these blocks. And then this is going to be like what the inside looks like. And it's not too bad. Again, this is just jungle wood right now. We haven't even stripped any of it. Tried to make it look better. But then you can kind of see where this is going. And personally, I actually do kind of like it. It looks a bit weird here. But any other block after this is going to look much better, in my opinion. But yeah, so I think, like, it feels so morally wrong to, like, if you make the big question of, like, okay, so same trolley problem. What if, you've got to make this really hard decision. And if you make the right decision, you get paid some money. It's like, oh, that adds some very weirdness to it. Like, making the right decision is much harder when you've got some incentive on the line. This is why, personally, also, should I leave this open? This seems like a weird thing to leave out there. I guess we will, but it doesn't seem okay. It seems like we've made some really, really weird mistake right there. But yeah, like, personally benefiting from something, and that's why I've always thought, like, any good, I guess, professional person, even person in general, like, try to remove conflicts of interest from your life. Like, when you can benefit from someone's decision, that's not a good thing. Like, people, there are, like, financial people who are paid based on commission. You can't trust them because I think it's something called a mortgage broker. They're a thing that you pay, and then they recommend you mortgages. Because I recently 2 years ago, bought a house. But they get paid from, a lot of mortgage providers will pay them either directly or, like, indirectly send them, like, invites to parties that make certain things. It's the same with, like, the US healthcare thing. Like, your doctor might recommend you things based on how much for commission they get. And it's like, wait a minute, wait a minute. That's not how that system should work in the slightest. But yeah, sometimes it does. And it kind of goes back to the point of, like, conflicts of interest are really bad. And if you don't believe me, then try and imagine murdering people for 10 million a pop. And then, keeping some of that money for yourself. Which, it's odd how our brains are wired that way. Because I can't think of any good reason why, in a good world, I mean, because, the reason you don't want someone else doing it is because you can't trust them to make the... you can't trust someone else to make the correct decision if they have incentives on the line. Like, not because you don't trust them, but because you just don't trust, I guess, humanity. But yeah, it's a weird one that way, right? Do this, by the way. I've made the square go all the way out to here. And one, it's a bit awkward that I have to, like, remove a block to get there. But I think it might actually work if I do this and then have, like, my doorway here. My iron doorway, which I might totally have, by the way. So maybe I should do that. I'm not even sure. This is looking really weird on the inside. But again, this is without any stripping. It still looks kind of good in my opinion. I like it personally. Maybe I'll start to disagree soon, but it's looking pretty okay. Every now and then I check the recording on this because I'm super nervous it's crashed. One time that happened when I was doing like a 4-hour stream. I don't know how long the stream had crashed for because I'm so focused on like building. I looked over and the PC had just frozen and it was like, that was 20 minutes ago. So, bad times. Recording crashing as a toy cat, would not recommend. If you ever record yourself, it's better if it doesn't crash. That's a good pro tip right there. Just doing a casual bit of terraforming right now. Just trying to make this a little bit less ugly, hopefully. I don't think I'm doing a very good job. But if you don't try, you don't get. That's not a phrase. So yeah, this mossy cobblestone on the wall, I feel like most people hate it on site and everything else. But I think some mossy cobblestone might actually be a good idea as part of the build. So I was thinking like, maybe we should go back to the jungle temple and we should get some more mossy cobblestone. Oh my god. Where did that come from? But I guess first we should probably, you know, like finish up the house just a little bit. On the outside at least. I want to have the walls at least, oh my god, this is the worst skeleton in the world. I hate you. I hate everything you stand for. But yeah, I think let's at least get like one more wall inward gun, because then at least it looks a tiny bit more like a boat, and also it functions more like a house. Because one of the key things about houses that everyone thinks is you need a roof, right? Because in real life, okay, this is gonna blow your minds. In real life, you need roofs on your houses. Right now, I actually just checked. I was like, you know, do I have a roof? I definitely do have a roof because it might rain. However, in Minecraft, you sleep through all the rain. There's no reason to have a rain roof on your house. So yeah, basically you don't actually ever need. Oh, I didn't do this one quite all the way either. But you never quite need to have. Actually, I think I will remove this and do something with that. But for now, let's just put something up here. You never actually need a roof in Minecraft. The only reason you needed one is because in beta 1.2, I want to say, they actually added it so that so that spiders could climb over your walls. However, if you have a wall design like this, it stops spiders from being able to get in because they can't see you on the inside. Like, they're never gonna care. If you have windows, it might cause issues, but even then, it's unlikely. And the other reason it's wonderful is because it lets all the natural light in. You know what the best source of natural light is? You might be thinking like, oh, must be RGB or something like that. Nah, best source of light is the sun. Fun fact. I actually have artificial light on me right now, by the way. Sorry about that. Actually, it's hitting like one side of my face. So this side of my face, that I'm like, wait, this side. This side. That side should be super bright, but it's looking away from the camera. So if I just record the whole video like this instead, I'll play terribly, ouch, but I'll have lighting on me. There's got to be a better way to make this build than the way I'm just like wasting logs everywhere. I'm going to think about it later, but I'm going to realize it like in the middle of the night or in the shower tomorrow and be like, oh, I did this whole video so wrong. But for now, it's the only way I can think of to get like diagonal stuff done. And it sucks, but you know, sometimes things you need to do suck. That's just the world, right? Which I always hate. You know, when people said that to me when I was younger, it's like, no, that's not how things go. And, you know, I guess kind of prove them wrong, because I do one of my favorite things every single day. But it is a little bit true, you know? Like, sometimes you have to do things you don't like. It's just you have to realize it on your own terms. When someone tells me to do something, it makes me not want to do the thing. So, pro tip, don't if you tell me to speak slower, I'm going to start speaking at rocket speed. So there's a really common thing in the UK of people like trying to sell you broadband internet or like maybe switch your utilities or something like that. And they have the cheesiest methods of like getting you to either answer your door or like in public. They'll try and like, there'll be one person and then there's a bunch of people. And here's my favorite thing is if you ever see this, I don't know if it's in your country or part of the UK, but everyone's like trying to just awkwardly go around them. They don't want this conversation. They want anything but this. But for some reason, you know, the big free, you know, internet providers, they'll all still send people out to do this and be like, hey, who have you got internet with? And it sucks because they're paid on commission, so my hatred of them is making them, make less money, whatever. But like, one of my favorite solutions is like, a lot of their tactics, because they basically do have to prey on people who don't want to speak to them. It's just the nature of their job. I don't feel too bad. I don't feel too, I don't think they're being too bad at people. It's just like, that's how they make their money, whatever. But sometimes they'll just be like, oh, hey, sir. Like, block me off, basically. And you know what the best solution is? You start running. I think we need to have a bit more like, rather than being like, oh, sorry, I just don't want to. It's like, I really don't want to. This is some time off I have from, whatever I'm doing, work, life, job, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter to him because he is not the arbiter of my time. This is time I have decided, and I'm deciding not to speak to strangers about my internet. I actually, especially, it's even worse because like my internet is like, it has to be a certain quality for YouTube, and only one provider can do that in my area. It's like, they're meant to give 20 megabits up, but they give like 8, but still, only one provider can do that. So it's like, literally, doesn't matter who you're with, I can't. Even if you offer to be like, it's free internet for 3 years, and I'll give you, like, whatever you want in the world, and I'll give you 10 million, and you won't even have to kill someone. And it's like, no, I'm sorry, I guess I should be 10 million, but sorry, it's just not gonna happen. But like, so one of my favorite things is like, you gotta like, make eye contact with them as you run away. You gotta like, Alexa heard that, but you gotta like, have some, like, they've gotta realize what they're doing, I feel like. And one of the best ways is like, you gotta verbalize what you're all thinking. They know what you're thinking, you know what you're thinking. But sometimes I think it's good to say things like that out loud. There's a lot of bad things that happen in the world because people are just like, is this how things happen all the time? Big recent stories happen because of that. And if everyone was just like, hey, I'm going to verbalize what I think is happening right now, so you can confirm if this is accurate with your sequence of events, and if there's not, we should correct this. And a weird fact about being on camera, actually, this kind of ties into last week's thing about like, oh yeah, so some people need to brush their teeth twice a day, whatever. But whenever I meet up with someone new, obviously I brush my teeth. It's like a thing. So one of the interesting things, I guess, about it's like my fear of recording, because like I'm not a extroverted person. So like, I'm not a big fan of like when I'm talking, I like it to there's like a limit. That's why I run away from or like try to make these salespeople not talk to me. But so one of the things I do before I start recording all the time is I'll always brush my teeth, or I'll like am some mouthwash or something. Like my breath smells so good right now, and I know you can't appreciate that, but I'd like it if you did regardless. Am I super slow? Oh, this is super slow. If my face cam's a low frame rate, I apologize. If it's not a low frame rate, then I guess I don't apologize. I've got nothing to apologize for. So yeah, I think actually though, we've now finished at least the building blocks part off the outside of my house, which is pretty cool actually. So I kind of want to have one layer lower going down, and then maybe make that out of this maybe, or actually maybe we should just strip the entire bottom layer. Let's just see what happens if we do that. It's the easiest one to replace if something goes wrong. But we'll strip this layer at the very bottom, and it's going to have like a little stripe effect. Oh, there's another axe gone. Oh, and the last of my pork chop. So let's make a bunch of ladders while we're here actually. It's going to come in handy later, I reckon. First though, one of these, then a bunch of these, and that allows me to make a bunch of these. There we go, 27 ladders. Probably overkill. I probably need about 5. But let's go on a boat trip, and let's talk about my next plan, because I said earlier, I want some more mossy cobblestone, and you can raid a jungle temple to get these. However, you might be thinking, not all of us are lucky enough to be near a jungle toy cat, and this is where the second thing can come in handy, because I recall on this treasure map, which I do not have anymore, which is, I guess, a good thing. On this treasure map, I was near a mesa tiger biome. I want to say it's a mesa tiger biome. Sorry, not mesa tiger. The tiger biome. A mesa tiger, what is that? But I'm near a tiger biome, and tiger biomes, I guess the mega tiger. Mega, not mesa, there we go. Made a word mistake. They have a bunch, just around the place, of just mossy cobblestone blocks. And given that we're living off the land, we're going to go find those, and we're going to incorporate them into my house somehow. It's going to be terrible. We're going to try regardless. So what do you call a fortnight after 12 hours? A fort day. Anyway, here you can see it's a tiger biome. I was actually mistaken about being... Oh, no, I was not mistaken. Or maybe I was lucky. You know, if I get to choose between lucky and mistaken... Oh, no, don't blow up my mossy cobblestone. But yeah, as you can see, there's these things called boulders. They're one of the most underutilized things in Minecraft, in my opinion. But you can find boulders all over these mega taiga biomes. And you can also find a lot of other weird blocks that are only found here. Like, I want to say it's podzol. Like, how often do you ever use podzol? It's a block just for... Actually, we're gonna grab some podzol. Let's use that too. Let's try and make this like a good thing. Let's use some really super underutilized blocks. And one of those is gonna be these right here. But yeah, you can see these are literally everywhere around here, and they provide mossy cobblestone. One of the only sources in the game of just pure mossy cobblestone. Obviously, when you go to a jungle temple, you're gonna get other stuff mixed in there. When you go to... Oh, you can't actually take, by the way, podzol. It turns into dirt. I guess we need silk touch pretty badly. We'll work our way to silk touch without ever needing to go below ground. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about that. But yeah, this is just everywhere, and this is the only way to find it pure in the game. We can... Oh, wow, that is a uncommon thing to find, eh? I really don't want to waste this on it, but I guess I have to. Also, if you bring some shears with you, you can also shear up some... what even are these things called? Mega ferns? They're just ferns. And I don't know how we're going to use these ferns, but you better believe, like, taking advantage of, like, the lay of the land, might as well take a bunch of ferns with us. Like, why not, right? You take advantage of the places you are. Like, mega taiga biomes are one of the most underrated biomes. Admittedly, because, like, what are you going to do? Like, mossy cobblestone and ferns? But that's the question we're going to be answering with this series. Is it really Monday today? It is. That means tomorrow's Tuesday. That means some exciting thing. Tuesday is like one of the most exciting days of the week. And you might not believe that. You might think that's just me getting you hyped for tomorrow, which I have no reason to, because like I don't get a commission when you use coupon code SOYCAT on your Tuesdays. But no, Tuesday is one of the best days of the week if you play games, because new stuff comes out. Even the Minecraft Marketplace store, it refreshes. There's gonna be something cool coming out. There probably won't be, but there might be something cool coming out tomorrow. And in the same way, new games are gonna be coming out. So, you know, new stuff on the third year. You know, there's things to be excited for. And as someone who is deliberately trying not to leave the country for a few weeks, it's like, you know what, video games. It's like, I've got two things I like in my life. It's doing the weird travel video things. And it's OIS traveling. And as a byproduct of that, doing that. And it's video games. So, you know, Tuesdays are my favorite days. Because not only is it video game day, but it's also the cheapest day to travel. Boom, fun facts of ToyCat. It's also the cheapest day to buy tickets, if you're ever buying airline tickets. Cheaper on Tuesdays. Bet you didn't know that. Maybe you did, actually. Because no one wants to travel on Tuesdays. Like, business travelers fly on Monday, Friday, maybe Monday, Saturday, maybe Monday, Thursday. Never Tuesday to anything. Oh, hey there, friend. Okay, I think 2 stacks and 5 is probably enough mossy stone for any ideas I have. Plus we got some ferns, 55 of them, which is definitely more than I'll need. But you know what, just so we have a nice round stack. Like, no point coming all the way and then half doing it. There we go, look at that, 60 ferns. Wait, 64, yeah, 65 ferns. I undersold myself. Things are gonna be pretty good, I reckon. Ah, I was figuring, maybe because shears kind of work like silk touch, maybe they work like it there. They don't. Anyway, let's go back home. Let's get a good night's sleep, and let's try and work some mossy cobblestone into my build. So, why did the fireman leave his job? He got fired. It's not a good answer to the question. It doesn't even make sense because he's a fire. But you know, I like it. I like it. I should build a big beacon. You can't actually make beacons, but like build a big beacon equivalent so I never get lost. I'll build it here so I can see it from a further distance. Boom. There's an idea for next episode. Definitely something that I think is underrated is boat building or boat destroying, whatever we're doing right now. But like, look at this. We're in a boat, but look at me being right here, actually doing some productive building stuff at the same time too. This is the future right here. Actually, I'm surprised. This is actually a much better way of doing things than I was before. There's no floating. It's a lot easier. You just, yeah, you know, would recommend 10 out of 10. I know I have like 5 hunger bars filled out of 10, and rotten flesh is terrible for hunger, but it seems like a good enough idea to eat it right now and just hope we don't get hunger poisoning. I mean, it was only a 4 in 5 chance. Like, you know, bad luck happens. Okay, so the top of my little house is complete. I kind of want to go a second block up, But I also like how it looks right now, so I guess let me know if you want to see a second block. But for now, let's use this mossy cobblestone in some way. And the way I was thinking, what would be kind of fun, is this little area right here. It's kind of squared off already, right? Why not make it into a mossy cobblestone looking area? Why not make it look... Oh wait, that's probably wrong. Yeah, I probably should center it around here. Why not make it look like it's a mossy cobblestone spawner? And given that's like the best use idea that I can come up with, I figured it'd be kind of fun to like then have a ladder, link that as like a secret trapdoor, and then I could hide my valuables in this, because get this right, we find a chest, we place the chest down here, perfectly centered, because that's balanced as all things should be. We can place some of the stuff we don't need in there, like spruce saplings. When is that going to come up in my day-to-day life? Probably not, right? However, oh, also, we should totally start killing fish, because I'm now that desperate on the food. You see why you see why like bringing 2 pork chops was important? This is the reason. You try to kill fish, you get attacked by a drown. It's just, oh, I have perfectly enough blocks to reach the surface. Never mind. No, I don't. I underestimated where the surface was, and now I guess I pay the price. So I have a ladder. Oh no, the ladder doesn't remove the area around it anymore. We're full aquatic update now, I guess. Boys. This is sad. But anyway, so you can see. Okay, so it might look like I've spent the whole episode working on a house without actually having a house to show for it. But really, that is an oversimplified, misunderstood. Also, I forgot I want to have some redstone on the front door. So let's go get some of that. Because if you're curious where we got the iron from, iron is just found all over the place. This is the free iron we have from chests. So, free iron doors. Too many, but still. We've got levers because we went to a jungle temple. We combine these 2 things. Maybe have a piston in there or something. But now we combine these 2 things. And again, entirely scavenging off the land. Just stuff we found on the surface. We now have enough to make one of these. Also, we should probably put something here. I guess that works. Look at this. We've got a proper door. I guess I can only lock myself out rather than in. But still, look at this. We have a house. It's got the width. I really like this house, actually. I think there's a few blocks we've left missing around the edge, which we should probably get rid of. So let's just get rid of a few of these. Like maybe that one too. There we go. So looking at the house now, I really like the way it looks on the inside. I think this is a cool wall design. It kind of goes in and out to the same place in a slightly different way. As soon as we have a floor in this, and as soon as we have a way to actually utilize that red chest, I think that's going to be crazy cool. Having a below ground, like, elite spawner. Not having a floor, I'll admit, is sometimes a hindrance in the house process. But besides that, I think we did pretty good, right? So, this has been episode 2 of the Living Off the Land challenge. I think we've raised awareness right here about, you don't need the things that you think you need. And one of those things that you think you need is a floor, apparently. But no, never gone underground yet. Still doing wonderfully for less than 2 hours into the game. 2 mini, Let's Play sessions into the game. We've got a house, we've got a diamond pickaxe, we've got all the stuff from last time, and we've got all these fun things that we can make crazy stuff. Like, who expects to have ferns? No one expects to have ferns. We can place them here. Look, oh. Why are they baby ferns? Do you have to, like, bone meal them up? Oh, they come in different sizes. That's weird. But still, I can have like a fern lawn. There's so many fun ideas we'll be working with. And I'm looking forward to actually doing some more of that in the next episode. So if you have an idea for the ferns, let me know. If you could press a button that would give you 10 million, but it'd kill someone on the other side of the world, would you press it? And how many times? Let me know as always, because it's a fun... I want to know your feelings on that. And besides that, thank you very much for watching today's video. Actually, no, we need a view from a high up. This is my makeshift viewing platform, by the way. I'm just going to put some ladders at the top of a tree vine thing. Oh, no, it doesn't work. You can't climb from a vine to a ladder. I don't know how I've never experienced that, but it's tragic. There we go. Look at that. That's how life hacks of Toycat. You can climb from a vine to a ladder. All you have to do is push against a different block. And there we go. So this is what my house looks like right now. That front of the boat is looking a bit weird. I think we need to make it bigger, longer, probably thicker actually too. But still, I'm really liking the geometrically perfect kind of look we got going on here. I'm liking the way we got stuff laid on there. And I think as soon as we have a floor, I know not having a ceiling is fine, but not having a floor probably seems a bit extreme. Things will be even better. So thank you very much for watching today's episode of the Let's Play. like it if you liked it, share if you really liked it, subscribe if you're around here, turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this. This new style of Let's Play does require a lot more work, a lot more effort and stuff going into it, but I think it's a lot of fun. Let me know what you think, because like I said, this is going to be like a temporary series for the next month or so, and then don't worry, we'll be back to the Let's Play. We're still in the same world as the Let's Play. You can't really see anything that would indicate that, but that's why we're at 10,000 blocks out. And yeah, for now, it's been a lot of fun, and I guess I'll see you all in the next episode in a week, every Monday. I'm so bad. I should have mentioned that somewhere in this video before, but you know, first channel, I guess I can't say can't care. Oops, goodbye. That wasn't even a goodbye. 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 Good, see you another time. You know, just silent wave. Bye-bye.